is he's laid out an agenda with those speeches, with the promises he made, and our job every day is just to execute on that, is to simply get a path to how those get executed. And he's maniacally focused on that.
Steve Bannon making the point that he is maniacally focused on that, saying that, you know, obviously he has categorized the media as the opposition party, the enemy, which, of course, we are not. But on stage, speaking about this new world order and nationalism, economic nationalism at the forefront. Also, this word of deconstructing various parts of government. Your thoughts on what you heard there, to the person who has really the ear of the President of the United States?
Well, Steve Bannon has a dystopian view of the world. He has a very anti-establishment view of the world. And let's remember this story. The CPAC keynote speaker, which was one of Steve Bannon's surrogates at Breitbart, one of his main editors, was only rescinded after he made comments condoning pedophilia. They already knew that he was a sexist Islamophobe who literally used the slogan, "Feminism is cancer," and he was invited to this. And Bannon ends up being the star of the show because they had to disinvite somebody who condoned pedophilia. And this is the real conundrum for the conservative movement, is this type of rhetoric, this dark vision of the world, is very different from the conservatism of Ronald Reagan that praised free trade, for example, and had America leading as the city upon a hill. And instead, we're much more looking like a dark vision and dystopian vision of American politics in the rest of the world.
Also, there's information that we're following from a senior White House official who tells CNN the president has assigned the Department of Homeland Security, working with the Justice Department, to help build a legal case for the travel ban. That's obviously getting some pushback from people in different agencies. Is this a search for a solution without a problem?
Well, they're going to try to find a way to have the travel ban that was blocked stand up to court scrutiny in the future. And so I assume that they will do what they should have done in the first place, which is run it by some people who actually have some expertise on the law rather than ramming it through with Steve Bannon's approval. But I also think that, you know, the approach to ban people based on their nationality, especially 7 countries with no history of terrorist attacks on United States soil, is ultimately misguided, because they have a very difficult case to make that there is a security imperative here, and also they have a very difficult case to make that this is not related to the blanket Muslim ban that Donald Trump supported in December 2015 when he called for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
But what of this particular administration, unlike others that we've seen, this administration basically making the case to other agencies within the United States, we won, we're in charge, do what we say?
Elections have consequences and policies change as a result of elections, but democracy endures. And the things that I'm seeing that are really problematic are the attack on pillars of democracy like the media, the independent judiciary, which Donald Trump both called so-called justices and also insinuated that he would blame them if a terror attack happened, the violations of ethics rules. All of these things are anti-democratic. Democratic with a small d. And this is something that's deeply troubling, where it's not just about the ebbs and flows of policy change as a result of elections. It's something that's a real challenge and threat to American democracy, and I hope that there will be more pushback against it.
The president gave an interview to Reuters. One of the biggest headlines coming from that wide-ranging conversation was on the topic of nuclear weapons. Let's listen to the President of the United States speaking on the topic.
It would be wonderful. A dream would be that no country would have nukes. But if countries are going to have nukes, we're going to be at the top of the pack.
The president has indicated before that, and he even indicated there, it would be better to see a world without nukes, but seemingly a mixed message that the United States will certainly stay on top in that category.
It is, and it's troubling because we want a world where nuclear weapons are off the table in terms of their usage. The nuclear deterrent is something that's important to American foreign policy, but at the same time, we want a president who cools down the global temperature rather than raising it. And I think that his fast and loose talk about nuclear weapons, both on the campaign and reports during the transition, that he repeatedly questioned why can't we use these when briefed on national security matters, should be troubling, especially because when we've seen in recent days that Kim Jong-un out of North Korea has used a nerve gas to assassinate a political opponent, there is a recklessness around the world with nuclear weapons that we need to really take care of and address without raising the global temperature on them.
Brian Klaas, live for us in London. Brian, thank you for the insight and perspective.